you for listening to Fem Talk 89 FM. We are on air in Labasa, and it's time for another episode of this season of Radio with Pictures on My TV. Thanks to the support of UNDP's CAFE program, supported by the European Union, DFEDS, and the International Women's Development Agency, as well as Oxfam.
Thank you, Kini. Feminist and women's organizations have been central actors in defining the post-2015 development agenda and will be crucial for its implementation. Throughout ongoing negotiations, women's rights groups have and will continue to push for ambitious outcomes that will set the path for the UN summit in September. Here at the local level, there's a need to support youth, young women and women of all diversities in the community to have access to information on some of these global as well as national decision-making processes. There's a need to use the information for the empowerment of others in their clubs and groups so that they can actively and equally participate in decision-making. At the local level, we continue to hear of the need for women to access information, to be able to be supported to meet together, to be able to develop collective strategies to address their priorities. We've also heard of the need for women and young women to be part of decision-making processes so that they can provide solutions to their development priorities. So whether it's national development planning processes or the new Sustainable Development Goals, it's clear gender equality and women's human rights must be part of that decision-making process, and that includes the participation of women. To discuss this and other issues as they see it in their communities, we have Esita Tale. Esita is a producer and broadcaster for Fem Talk 89 FM here in Labasa. We have Katerina Antonio. Katerina is from the Kavungale Women's Club in Nangai. We have Terani Tamboariki from the Baokonikai Women's Group in Rambi. We're also joined by Newa Sarailangi, the president of the Merlina Women's Club based in Wailevu village in Labasa. Sister Litia Mvoli is a member of the Association of Anglican Women, and of course Selai Dindambe is a member of the Nalemba Multiracial Women's Club. Esita, starting with you. You go out, you record programs with women in their clubs. How are women leading in Vanuatu? What are you hearing through the radio?
Thank you, Sharon. For the women here in the northern or in Labasa, especially, they have to follow structure about leadership especially in community, and this are big barriers to them, as they have to follow the structure in their community, in the village. They have to listen to men, and leadership for them is like men have to be first. So they have to keep in that level.
But women are doing some amazing things in their clubs, right?
Yes, Sharon.
So in the women's groups, they're leading. What are they doing? What are some of the projects you're finding?
For the women's group which attend our 1325 meeting or our part of our network, which we reach out to, take, for example, talking about the Vunidudi Multiracial Women's Group, which I was a member of it for a long time, and now I'm moving to Navakuru. So for women in Vunidudi, they are great leaders. In terms of they can do things, whether men are not able to do it. In terms of, first of all, is the electricity and the cooperative shop. They're coming up with good ideas, and women their voice are being heard with by the men, because they doing the positive things in their community.
So their leadership, what women are doing, and not just doing it for themselves, but it's benefiting the whole of the community, yes, whether it's the shop or electricity.
Yes, it's benefiting the whole community.
Thanks, Esita. Katerina, you belong to the Kavungale Women's Club. Tell us about the club. What are some of the activities in which women are leading?
Thank you, Sharon. Talk about the Kavungale's club. It's a little bit active, only a few of us attending a consultation for nearly every month. And then there's some kind of a problem that we're facing is that only some women attending meetings every time, but some of them are left behind, and we are facing so many problems on that.
What are some of the problems? What are some of the barriers to women participating? Why don't they come to the club meetings? Are they busy working at home? Do they have to go out and work for their families?
No, I don't think so. There's a lot of us staying home as a housewife, but only things they are making they are like not listening to the person who are in charge of our leadership, stands as a leadership in our community as a women's club. That's all I want to say.
So maybe there's just this level of not being interested.
Yes,
maybe they want some kind of activities
yes,
that will
and
bring
there are
them
some
together.
women always like to be on their own.
Okay,
So-
it's not easy organizing, is it?
Okay.
Sometimes you have small numbers, sometimes
Yes.
you have large numbers. Terani, you are one of the young women in the Bao Konikai women's group in Rambi, and we heard earlier how as the young women and the older women were meeting separately, but then you have decided to come together and work together. Why did you make that decision as the young women? What were you thinking about?
Well, we noticed that when we were working in different groups, not much was done, and it took longer to make things happen in the community. So when Auntie Vasu and them came to Rembi, they came up with the idea for us to all join one group, because then the whole community will be helped, not only some and some left out.
What are some of the leadership training programs that you would like to see for yourself and some of the other young women? Because we heard earlier, one of our earlier episodes, that young women are being identified as the leadership, as moving things forward, you know. But how can young women be helped? You don't just become a leader, you know, I mean, or manage things without training. So what kind of training would you like to get in your community?
Well, I was thinking of a class, because most of the young women, they elope at an early age. They've nearly finished their education, either Form 6 or Form 7. But then after getting married, they can't get back to school. So they have no other option but to stay as housewives. But most of them they have potential. So I was hoping that a class could be opened in Rambi, a matua class, to help the women finish their education.
You mentioned the word elope. Do you mean that they run away to get married, or
Yes, well, culturally.
culturally
Yes.
they're
It's
stepping
called elope.
outside?
Yeah, they're
okay.
stepping.
All right. So, but they're getting married very young, and they're
Yes.
not finishing school.
Yes.
So, how do you think we could? I mean, in terms of this for young women, how would you like to encourage them to be able to think about staying on in school? That while we respect that everyone has a right to choose when they want to get married, but you're saying that they're just dropping out of school. How can we encourage young women to stay in school, to see that offers them a future?
Well, I think that comes from the parent, from the mothers at least. I think they should fully support their children and communicate with them so as to understand their problems. Because Rambian girls, they are pretty much locked in at home. They don't get out much. So, of course, if they get the opportunity, it's like...
They're on the boat.
Yeah. So I think the mothers should be more open with their children and, should share things about...
So there's some needs to really understand how we can be supporting mums
Yes.
in the community, and I think that's a really good thing that you've done, to be able to be working together as the young women alongside your mothers and aunties or grandmothers. Are you discussing some of these issues in the club meeting?
Not yet. We've only had a few meetings so far. We're still thinking of the projects. We're not focusing on other things yet, like those.
So, but maybe communication
Yeah,
could come up in
communication.
terms of how to help. Thank you. Newa, you're the president of the Malina Women's Group in Wailevu. How easy is it for you to be a leader in your village community? Are you being heard? Are you part of decision making? Tell us about your club.
Yes, Malina Women's Club, it just started 5 years ago, but I stepped out to start this women's club because I see that some of the women there, they're interested in what I was coming up for. And me as a leader, I can see that I can bring them together. They can at least listen to what I've said because they're interested in what I am doing. Because I'm doing sewing and I went for tertiary school like TPF. I attend a fashion and design course, but it was only 2 months left that I didn't finish it because I'm married with my kids. They were in Labasa, so I came back. But I found it sometimes it's very hard because one of our members is right in Senganga, and for us in the village, like we just talk and set up what day we are all free from that time that we can meet together. But it's very challenging to me because as a young woman to take that opportunity to be a leader in a group, it's not a very easy job. For a woman to lead a group, you have to have that heart and be honest to them, for able to move on and carry on with that whatever, because this year we have a lot of things to do in every month to make the report, and I have to do that.
Thank you so much, Newa. Sister Latia, you're part of the Association of Anglican Women. You also manage the St. Mary's Hostel. We heard earlier from the president of the Association of Anglican Women here in Labasa, Anshu, that there is quite a bit of support for women's leadership within the church. Could you share some of the ways in which women are being supported to lead, and why is it good to support women's leadership? What are the benefits of for the community?
Thank you, Sharon. As I see that women, are taking up position in our church, like a woman priest. Some of the things they are capable to do, but not only men can do that, but women can do that also. In the hostel, we are 2 sisters. We're looking after the hostel. Mainly our work there, we look after girls that they come from different places around here in Labasa. These girls, they travel far from distant to come and live in the hostel. So what we do, we look after them start from the morning until in the evening.
And it's helping them go to school, it's
Right.
helping them in their studies. Are there many hostels here in Labasa providing a similar service?
Actually, we are the only one belong to the Anglican Church, and there are a few others, but our hostel that it look after different schools where girls go to. We're not only in one school like Labasa College, but our hostel, it look after different schools in Labasa.
Please pass that on to Sister. So thank you, Sister. Coming back to the Nalamba Multiracial Women's Club, Salah, you've been a member. The group, through the leadership of yourself, Andi Makatalena, you've focused on a poultry farm. the poultry project for the women. How has this made a difference in your community, having the poultry farm or just having the women meet regularly?
Thank you, Sharon. In my community, in Alemba, we don't got any source of income, and the Indian families, they don't got any land, so they're just waiting for the harvesting canes. By that time, they can got money. But in that project, our poultry farm, it helped us a lot because our education of our children and all the women comes around because we are multiracial. And the Indian families, their religions, their culture, they can send their their wife to any place for 1 hour or 2 hours. But in this, in our project, in our group, the men, they are sending the woman because they know it's good. It's good for they help them. They, and especially the women, the Indian women, they can speak in English. And for us in Nalemba, by attending the monthly consultation, we learn a lot. We learn more new things. Our Indian ladies, they can speak in English now. And the men too, they are supporting them.
Great.
For coming to the monthly consultation.
Okay, so what you're saying is when women are organizing, very similar to what Esita raised, that when women organize, the community benefits, whether it's economically or whether it's through the access to information or even learning new ideas or, as you said, learning English. Coming back to you, Esita, if we could just go around the table now and talk about our development priorities. You've been part of the baseline assessment. You meet the women regularly. What would you say, just from your own communities, what's the main development priority you'd like to see here for the Northern Division as the National Development Plan is finalized for the next 5 years?
For the National Development Plan, Sharon, in my community, I'm living in Navakuru, which is 25 kilometers away from Labasa town, and the bus fare from there is $2.30 one way. So the priorities which we're facing is the bridge and the electricity. Those two are main problems which we're facing, and we really need upgrading for those two, because that depend on students' education, the education for the student in my community, and for the market vendors, our mothers who support their children, and the lotu and the vanua. So that's the only source of income for them to come to the market. For that, if the bridge is gone bad, flooded, or where there's logging and so other big trucks come in there, they are not the bus not able to come to them. So we really we urge for that. If they can see into our bridge, it's been bad from more than 30 years.
So one bridge could fix women's access to markets, children going to school, people just being able to travel to and from. Your nearest health center would be where, Esita?
There's no nearest health center in there.
You have
There's
to
no
come all the way
to
Labasa Hospital. Okay. Katerina, in terms of development priorities as you see it, we heard from one of your Nangai women's group members that drainage is a major problem in the settlement.
Yes.
What else? What else is a priority?
I think we need street lights too, and a transport for school children, especially in the morning. We need street lights because in the night it's really dark, and it's very hard for the younger ones and all these to move around.
Because it's not a proper road, is it? From the main road to the settlement, it's a track almost, isn't it?
Yes, but
but the bus comes in.
Yeah, the bus comes in sometimes, but during bad weathers it doesn't come in.
Okay.
And we're finding difficulties on traveling expenses. We have to pay more from taxi drivers. About the poor drainage, and they finding so many potholes, and we need a Tahsil road too. And
So it's basic infrastructure.
yes,
Drainage, roads,
Street lights.
Thank you. Terani, for your group in Rambi, you've talked about the need for matua classes. You talk in that sense, it's about access to education. Is that a major priority?
Yes, but there are others as well. A dispensary. Our village, Pokonika, is the furthest from the main village that's in Nuku, where they have the hospitals and stuff. And transportation is really hard. So it would be nice if there was a dispensary in the village for the old women and for the younger children. Cause
You had a baby recently, right? You're a
Yes.
young mum. So where did you give birth? Did you give birth on the island? Where did you go?
actually, I was in Suva.
You were in Suva, so you were lucky to be able to have
Yes.
you have a choice of at least 2 hospitals.
Yes, and
So
For the-
dispensary, health services.
and also a midwife. We have a birth unit in Jambi, but there's no midwife.
Okay. So
We-
what happens if you have to give birth then?
Well, most mothers come here either
To
to
Lambasa?
Savu Savu
Oh.
or Labasa, but there's also some cases where women give birth in the villages. But since, according to the law now, that's not allowed, so all pregnant women in Rambi were asked to either come to the town. If they don't, they could be taken to court.
Okay, so we need to make sure that we're actually making sure that the birthing units have the services, or women have access to maternity units before we apply some of these laws. Okay, Newa, for the Melina Women's Club, you talked about income generation, and supporting your community in terms of organizing. What's the one development priority you'd like to see solved within the next 5 years?
The most thing that we want to see that we are I'm the president of the Women's Club and a leader of the PTA in Wailivi Kindergarten. And then we find out that for how many years now, that the management and the PTA is not the management is not supportive to the kindergarten. We found out that our kindergarten now, they need renovation, because if the OHS comes in our kindergarten, they can close that kindergarten right away because of the toilet and everything there is not good. Melina is my last kid that's schooling there. I have 6 children. And from all of this year, I don't see any change for the management to do anything to support. Even there's no fence. Anyone can just come in and they just drink around in the compound and do whatever they do. Like the taps there, they're using it. Sometimes the toilet, it's been used at night. And it's very hard. They are not communicating well with the village people, the management. And it's very hard for us to meet them.
So there's a real need to make sure that there's support for and funds for the upgrade of these preschool, the kindergarten. That brings me to you, Sister Lytia, the St. Mary's Hostel and the work that you're doing. Do you have sufficient funds to upgrade the facilities, this community service that you provide to young girls from across Vanuatu?
Thank you, Sharon. I think we've been here now for years. It's not that much fun that coming to the hostel to renovate the hostel. So I'm just asking if there is a fund somewhere can be used for the hostel.
Where do the girls come from? Which communities are accessing the hostel services?
They-
How far? What's the farthest distance?
The far distance from Savu Savu, right in Nawi, and in Bua, Dongotuki, I think through this CBM. All the children are at the hostel.
Okay. And in terms of the priorities for your renovations, what are your top 3 things that need to be fixed?
Actually, the first one is the hostel. The second one is the road. This road here is very dusty, and we need to be tar-sealed, and also the drainage. When during floods, this place here in St. Mary's School and the hostel are full of water. So even us, we can go across here to St. Mary's.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sister. Selai, we've heard that in Nalemba community there's issues of road improvements as well. You've got the nice highway, but then the minute you turn to come to your community, the roads are very bad. There's still problems with water. Are these your priority issues for the 5-year development plan, or are there any other priorities?
Yes, Sharon, we are facing with a water problem. It's almost 20 years we are filling the water from the well, and when the dry season we have to search for the water in the river. We need more help for the water because it almost all Nalemba area. It's number 16, number 17, number 18 town area. That's our main problem in Nalemba, the water.
And from your experience of running the poultry farm, how could more women's cooperatives or income generating programs be supported in the National Development Plan? What are some of the lessons you have learned that you would like people to know about, so that when women's economic empowerment or income generating programs are being discussed, what are the best steps to support women?
Vinaka, right now we got 160 baby chicks. It's not baby, it's about 9 weeks chicken. It's about to deliver the eggs. Our target is 500. If we got 500 chicks, lab beds, we can sell the eggs to the community to help them not to come to town to find the eggs. It's easy for them to buy the eggs from there, and help the women to come and work in the poultry farm so they can get money and help their family for their children's education.
Do you need more training in what, I mean, you learnt about the poultry farming, but is it that to start a project you need ongoing support? It's not just here, have your project and run it, but do you need ongoing support, ongoing training?
Yes, sir, and we need more support for our project so we can learn more so we can know how to run the business.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to come back to you finally, Esita. You've heard the stories, you've gone out to the communities. In terms of women's participation in planning, in terms of young women's participation in development planning, what's the one change you would like to see so that things can be different in 5 years' time?
Thank you, Sharon. Like we was talking about the national budget, and one thing I really need to be changed in my community is the bridge, because there is a school there in where I am staying in Wairiki. So women's participation in this level is really important, because women, they know what's the problem their children are facing. They are the one who will take their children in the morning to school, and we really need this to be changed, the bridge, so that children can attend school every day.
So it's as simple as listening to women. Even if it's about one bridge, it affects the whole community. If it's about the roads for children coming and going to school, it's almost like there's a connection all the way. But let's listen to women, let's listen to young women to be part of that decision-making process, because something as simple as one bridge that's been down for 30 years and
can
make it
affect all
of that community. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, Esita, Katerina, Terani, Newa, Sister Litia, and Selai. It's back to you, Kini.
Thank you, Sharon. And we'll be back the same time next week for another new episode of Radio with Pictures. And don't forget to tune in to Fem Talk 89 FM Suva if you're living in the Nabuan Nausori corridor, or Fem Talk 89 FM Labasa on air from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. weekdays in Labasa town.